Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. They bombed Earth. Humanity's revenge will leave you speechless. The Earth Defense Fleet Command Center hummed with activity as Commander Alina Rice stared at the holographic display, her dark eyes narrowed, scanning the readouts from the Mars colony. Something was wrong. The quantum communications array had been reporting anomalies for the past 6 hours, but this was different, a complete blackout. "Status report," she demanded, her voice cutting through the ambient noise like a knife. Lieutenant Harper swiped through several data screens before responding. "Still nothing from Mars, Commander. All communications remain dark. The last transmission indicated unusual gravitational fluctuations in the upper atmosphere, but nothing conclusive." Alina ran a hand through her short military-cut hair. Mars colony housed over 3 million people, scientists, engineers, families. The first true off-world settlement of humanity, established just 15 years prior in 2187. "Launch reconnaissance drones," she ordered, "and put the fleet on standby alert." "Yes, Commander," Harper replied, already typing commands into his console. Alina turned to the large viewport that dominated one wall of the command center. Earth hung in the blackness of space like a blue-green jewel. Humanity had nearly destroyed it once with climate disasters and resource wars, but they pulled back from the brink. The United Earth Government, formed in 2150, had ushered in an era of unprecedented cooperation and technological advancement. Space exploration had accelerated, and Mars colony was their crowning achievement. Now something was threatening that achievement, and Alina had a sinking feeling in her gut that it wasn't a technical malfunction. 3 hours later, her fears were confirmed. "Commander, drones have reached Mars orbital space," Lieutenant Harper announced, his voice strained. "Transmitting visual feed now." The holographic display flickered and then showed the red planet, or what should have been the red planet. Instead, a massive alien vessel hovered in orbit, easily 20 km long. Its design was unlike anything in human records, organic yet mechanical, with sweeping bone-like structures that curved around a glowing central core. "What in God's name is that?" muttered Admiral Chen, who had joined Alina in the command center. Before anyone could respond, the feed showed multiple smaller craft detaching from the main vessel. They descended toward the planet like predatory insects, their hulls shimmering with an iridescent blue energy. "Magnify," Alina ordered, her throat tight. The image zoomed in on Mars colony, or rather what remained of it. The massive dome structures that had housed humanity's first extraterrestrial city were shattered. Fires raged across the settlement areas, and there, moving among the ruins, were figures, not human. Tall, sinuous creatures with 4 arms and elongated heads. "They're collecting something," Harper observed, "taking samples from the ruins and, oh God, from the bodies." Alina's hands clenched into fists at her sides. "Full alert. Now, notify all Earth defense stations and lunar bases. This is a first contact scenario, hostile intent confirmed." The command center erupted into controlled chaos as alert signals blared and officers rushed to their stations. "What about the Mars survivors?" Admiral Chen asked quietly. Alina stared at the feed, watching as another building collapsed under alien weapons fire. "If there are any," she replied grimly. Within 24 hours, Earth had mobilized its entire defense fleet. 36 combat vessels of varying classes, from small agile fighters to the 3 massive dreadnoughts that served as the backbone of humanity's spacefaring military. It wasn't much compared to the alien vessel, but it was all they had. The United Earth Council convened an emergency session, and Alina found herself addressing the planetary leadership from the bridge of the EDF Intrepid, Earth's flagship dreadnought. "The alien species has made no attempt at communication," she explained, her image transmitted to council chambers worldwide. "They have systematically destroyed Mars colony and appear to be harvesting resources, including biological samples from our dead." President Ando of the United Earth Government leaned forward. "Commander Rice, your assessment of their capabilities compared to ours." Alina didn't sugarcoat it. Based on preliminary analysis, their technology is at least a century beyond our current level. Their vessel's energy readings suggest power generation capabilities we can only theorize about, and if they could reduce Mars' colony to ruins. And Earth, President Ando asked. Earth would be, she paused, a greater challenge, but the outcome would likely be the same. Silence fell across the council chambers. Then what do you propose, Commander? The President finally asked. Elena straightened. We have one advantage. They don't know our capabilities and they don't expect resistance. I propose Operation Thunderbolt, a coordinated strike utilizing all 3 dreadnoughts equipped with our experimental quantum warheads. We hit them before they can reach Earth. Quantum warheads? A council member interrupted. Those haven't been field tested. We don't have time for field tests, Elena responded evenly. The alien vessel has changed course and is heading toward Earth. At their current speed, they'll be in weapons range within 18 hours. President Ando conferred briefly with his advisors, then faced the camera again. Commander Rice, you have authorization for Operation Thunderbolt. God help us all. Connection terminated, and Elena turned to face her bridge crew. You heard the President. Transmit battle plans to all vessels. We intercept at the lunar orbital line. As the crew scrambled to prepare, Elena received a message from Dr. Amani Oak, the lead scientist for Earth's quantum weapons program. Commander, Dr. Oak's face appeared on a small screen, her expression tense. We've been analyzing the data from the Mars attack. These aliens, we're calling them the Visari based on some markings we've identified. They use a technology that manipulates gravitational fields. How does that help us, Doctor? Our quantum warheads work by disrupting subatomic bonds. In theory, the energy release could temporarily neutralize their gravitational tech, creating a window of vulnerability. Elena nodded. Send all relevant data to our weapons officers. We'll need every advantage. As the Earth Defense Fleet moved into position, Elena addressed her soldiers one final time. Today we face an enemy unlike any humanity has encountered. They attacked without provocation, destroyed our colony, and killed millions of our people. They believe we are weak, primitive, easily conquered. Today we show them how wrong they are. Today we show them that humanity will not go quietly into extinction. We will fight, we will survive, and we will remember Mars. A chorus of affirmations echoed through the ship's communication system as the massive alien vessel approached lunar orbit. The Earth Defense Fleet remained hidden behind the moon, their engines cold, their systems running minimal power to avoid detection. Enemy vessel entering optimal engagement range in 3-2-1. Lieutenant Harper counted down. All ships execute Operation Thunderbolt, Elena commanded. The Earth fleet surged from behind the moon, engines flaring to life, weapons systems powering up. The alien vessel, now identified as the Visari mothership, immediately began to react, its hull shimmering with blue energy as smaller craft launched from its hangars. All dreadnoughts target the central core structure. Cruisers and destroyers intercept those smaller craft. Fighter squadrons provide cover for the capital ships, Elena ordered, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. The space between Earth and its moon erupted into chaos as human vessels engaged the technologically superior Visari. Beams of concentrated energy sliced through the void, striking Earth vessels with devastating precision. 3 human destroyers were lost in the opening salvo, but humanity wasn't helpless. The EDF vessels fired their conventional weapons, testing the Visari shields, probing for weaknesses, while the dreadnoughts maneuvered into position for the main attack. Visari targeting systems appear to prioritize larger vessels, Harper reported. They're focusing fire on the dreadnoughts. Elena nodded. As expected, Cruiser Squadron Alpha execute Maneuver Delta 6. 10 cruisers broke formation, accelerating toward the Visari mothership in what appeared to be a suicide run. The alien vessel redirected its weapons, easily destroying 3 cruisers, but the distraction worked. The remaining 7 cruisers launched missile salvos directly at the mothership's weapon emplacements before peeling away. Dreadnoughts in position, Admiral Chen reported from the EDF Resolute. Quantum warheads armed and ready. Alina took a deep breath. This was it, humanity's best shot at survival. Fire quantum warheads, all dreadnoughts full salvo. 6 quantum warheads streaked toward the Vizari mothership, their trajectories calculated to hit different sections of the massive vessel. The alien ship's defenses targeted the incoming missiles, destroying 2, but 4 made it through. The explosion that followed defied conventional physics. Instead of a fiery blast, the quantum warheads created distortions in spacetime itself. The Vizari mothership's hull seemed to warp and twist, its gravitational technology disrupted just as Dr. Oak had predicted. "Direct hits," Harper shouted. "Vizari ship showing multiple hull breaches and power fluctuations." "All vessels concentrate fire on the breach sections," Ailinga commanded. The Earth fleet unleashed everything they had. Missiles, energy weapons, even their mass drivers firing depleted uranium slugs at significant fractions of light speed. The Vizari mothership, temporarily vulnerable without its gravitational shields, suffered unprecedented damage. But the alien vessel was far from defeated. As its systems began to recover, it retaliated with a weapon that none of humanity's scientists had anticipated. A pulse of exotic particles expanded outward, washing over the human fleet. Ships began losing power, their systems failing one by one. The bridge of the Intrepid flickered as emergency lighting engaged. "Status report," Alina demanded as consoles sparked around her. "Main power down," Harper replied, his face illuminated by the dim red emergency lights. "Weapons offline, communications limited to short range. Whatever they hit us with, it's fried our systems." Alina stared at the tactical display, watching as her fleet drifted powerless. The Vizari mothership, damaged but functional, began moving toward Earth once more. "Get me any ship that still has communications," she ordered. After several tense minutes, they established contact with the EDF Resolute. Admiral Chen's face appeared on screen, his bridge in similar condition to the Intrepid's. "Commander Rice, we have partial system functionality," he reported. "Our main reactor is offline, but we've managed to route emergency power to essential systems." "What about the quantum warhead launchers?" Chen's expression was grim. "We have 1 warhead left, but no power to launch it." Alina's mind raced through possibilities. They couldn't give up, not when Earth itself hung in the balance. "Admiral, prepare your remaining warhead for manual detonation. We're going to deliver it personally." "You're talking about a suicide mission," Chen said, his voice level. "I'm talking about saving Earth," Alina replied. "The Intrepid will use its remaining maneuvering thrusters to intercept the Vizari ship. We'll breach their hull at the damage point we've already created and detonate the warhead from inside." Chen was silent for a moment. "It should be my ship, Commander. The Resolute is better positioned." Alina shook her head. "The Intrepid has better shielding against their weapons. It has to be us." She paused. "If we succeed, make sure Earth knows what happened here." "It will be remembered," Chen promised. As the Intrepid's crew prepared for their final mission, Alina recorded a brief message for Earth. "People of Earth, if you're receiving this, then Operation Thunderbolt has both succeeded and failed. We've damaged the alien vessel but cannot destroy it with conventional tactics. The Intrepid will deliver one final strike that we believe will neutralize the threat. Remember this day not as a tragedy, but as the moment humanity proved it would never surrender, never accept extinction. The stars are our birthright, and no force in this universe will take that from us without a fight." She ended the recording and turned to her crew. "Anyone who wishes to evacuate to the escape pods has my permission to do so. What comes next is beyond the call of duty." Not a single crew member moved. Lieutenant Harper smiled grimly. "We're with you, Commander, for Mars, for Earth, for humanity." Alina nodded, feeling a fierce pride in her crew. "Plot intercept course with the Vizari ship. Full emergency thrust on my mark." The damaged Intrepid lurched forward, its emergency thrusters pushing it toward the massive alien vessel. The Vizari detected the approach and fired upon the human ship, but most of their weapons were still targeting the rest of the fleet. "Breach point identified," Harper reported. "Their hull is still compromised at coordinates 227 Mark 884. "Set collision course," Elena ordered, "and may whatever gods exist have mercy on us all." The Intrepid accelerated toward the Vizari mothership, a final spear thrown by humanity against those who would extinguish them. The bridge of the EDF Intrepid shuddered violently as the ship's reinforced prow slammed into the damaged section of the Vizari mothership. Metal screamed against alien alloy, the sound reverberating through the hull like a death knell. "Breach successful," Lieutenant Harper shouted over the cacophony of alarms. "We've penetrated approximately 40 meters into their structure, Commander." Elena Rice gripped her command chair, blood trickling from a cut on her forehead. "Seal all bulkheads. Prepare boarding parties. We need to get that quantum warhead to their central power core." "Boarding parties?" Harper questioned, his eyes wide. "Commander, we're inside an alien vessel with technology we barely understand." Elena's gaze was unflinching. "Which is why we need to adapt, Lieutenant. The warhead launch systems are offline, but we can still deliver it manually." She stood, moving to the weapons locker on the bridge and removing a pulse rifle. "I'll lead the team myself." Within minutes, Elena had assembled a squad of 12, the ship's best combat engineers and special forces operatives. They gathered in the forward airlock, now pressed against the alien hull. "The atmosphere should be breathable according to our sensors, but keep your rebreathers ready," Elena instructed. "Our objective is simple. Find the power core, plant the warhead, set the timer, and get as many of our people out as possible." The squad nodded grimly. They all knew the chances of escape were minimal. "For Mars," one of the engineers said quietly. "For Earth," another added. Elena cycled the airlock. "For humanity." The interior of the Vizari mothership was like nothing human eyes had ever witnessed. Corridors twisted in non-Euclidean geometries, the walls composed of a material that seemed halfway between metal and organic tissue. Pulsing veins of blue energy ran through the structure, illuminating the alien architecture with an eerie glow. "Stay alert," Elena cautioned as they moved deeper into the vessel. "We don't know." She was cut off as a group of Vizari appeared around a bend in the corridor. Up close, they were even more alien than the reconnaissance footage had suggested. Standing nearly 3 meters tall, their forearms moved with unsettling grace. Their elongated heads housed 3 sets of eyes that glowed with the same blue energy that permeated their ship. The lead Vizari made a sound, a high-pitched harmonic that seemed to vibrate the very air, and raised a weapon. "Open fire," Elena commanded. The human squad unleashed a barrage of pulse rifle fire. The Vizari were fast, their movements fluid and precise, but they hadn't expected resistance inside their own vessel. 3 went down immediately, their bodies dissolving into a strange, iridescent mist. The remaining Vizari returned fire, their weapons emitting beams of concentrated gravitational force that crushed one of Elena's engineers against the wall with sickening finality. "Fall back to that junction," Elena ordered, laying down covering fire as her team retreated. The skirmish lasted less than a minute, but when it ended, all the Vizari were neutralized, and Elena had lost 2 squad members. The ship's quantum physicist, Dr. Santos, was scanning the pulsing energy conduits with a handheld device. "Commander, I'm detecting massive power readings approximately 200 meters in that direction." He pointed down one of the twisting corridors. "It's likely their central core." Elena nodded. "Lead the way, Doctor. Everyone else stay alert. They know we're here now." As they advanced deeper into the alien vessel, they encountered more resistance. The Vizari deployed not only their warriors, but also automated defense systems, floating orbs that emitted paralyzing energy fields. The human squad adapted quickly, using the alien architecture for cover and timing their movements between the orb's energy pulses. "They're learning our tactics," Elena observed after their 3rd engagement. "Each group we encounter is more prepared than the last." "Some kind of shared consciousness?" suggested Corporal Zhang, the squad's communications specialist. "Possible," Elena replied. All the more reason to reach that core quickly. Finally, after losing 3 more squad members, they reached what could only be the Vizari ship's power center. A vast spherical chamber opened before them, dominated by a swirling vortex of blue-white energy suspended in a gravitational containment field. Platforms extended into the chamber at various levels, with Vizari technicians moving between control stations. Dr. Santos whispered in awe, "It's a miniature artificial singularity. They're harnessing the power of a controlled black hole." Elena didn't waste time on scientific wonder. "Where do we place the warhead for maximum effect?" Santos scanned the chamber. Those control stations around the containment field. Disrupt those and the gravitational containment could collapse. The singularity would dissipate, or worse, expand momentarily before collapsing. "Worse seems better in our current situation, Doctor," Elena said grimly. She turned to her remaining squad members. "Jong, Patel, flank left and right. Create a diversion. Dr. Santos and I will deliver the package." The diversion worked perfectly, perhaps too perfectly. As Jong and Patel opened fire on opposite sides of the chamber, every Vizari in the vicinity turned to respond. Alarms blared with that same harmonic quality they'd heard earlier, seeming to resonate with the very structure of the ship. Elena and Santos used the chaos to reach the nearest control station. Santos set to work immediately, connecting the quantum warhead to the alien technology. "This is extraordinary," he murmured as he worked. "Their interface technology responds to thought patterns. It's trying to communicate with me." "Stay focused, Doctor," Elena warned, providing covering fire as more Vizari poured into the chamber. "Commander," Zhang's voice came through her communit. "We've got big problems. Some kind of elite guards are entering the chamber. They're different." Elena saw them immediately. Unlike the other Vizari, these newcomers were encased in what appeared to be living armor, their movements even faster, more precise. They weren't using weapons. They didn't need to. One of them gestured, and Patel was lifted from his position and slammed against the ceiling with bone-crushing force. "Santos' status," the Lena demanded urgently. "Almost there," the physicist replied, his hands moving rapidly over the alien interface. "The warhead is integrated with their systems. I've set it to overload their containment field, but I need another 30 seconds to lock it in." "You've got 10, Elena said, emptying her pulse rifle's energy cell at the approaching Vizari elite. "Make it count." The battle for the power core reached a crescendo as Elena found herself facing one of the elite Vizari directly. Her rifle depleted, she drew her sidearm, knowing it would have little effect. The alien regarded her with all 6 of its eyes, its head tilting in what might have been curiosity. Then, to her shock, it spoke, not in sounds but directly into her mind. "Why do you resist? Extinction is inevitable for species such as yours. We have consumed civilizations that span galaxies. You are nothing." Thena felt the creature attempting to probe her mind, sifting through her memories, her fears. "You're wrong," she replied aloud, fighting the mental invasion. "Humanity doesn't accept inevitability. We make our own fate." "It is done," Santos shouted behind her. "Warhead is active, 10-minute countdown." The Vizari elite's eyes widened, all 6 focusing on Alan with newfound respect, or was it fear? "You destroy yourselves to defeat us," the alien's thoughts echoed in her mind. Belina smiled grimly. "We would, but that's not the plan." Before the Vizari could react, Elena fired her sidearm, not at the alien, but at the control panel beside it. The energy bolt short-circuited the alien technology, causing a cascade of power fluctuations. The gravitational containment field around the artificial singularity wavered visibly. "All squad members fall back to the Intrepid," Elena ordered through her comm. "Move." As they retreated, fighting their way back through the alien vessel, the Vizari seemed thrown into disarray. The ship's internal systems fluctuated, gravity shifting unpredictably, sections of corridor sealing off or opening without apparent logic. "What did you do?" Santos asked as they ran. "Gave us a chance," Elena replied. "Their systems are linked. Disrupting that control panel affected the entire ship's network." They reached the Intrepid with 3 minutes to spare on the warhead timer. Only Alina, Santos, and Zhang had survived from the original boarding party. "Lieutenant Harper, status," Alina called as she stumbled onto the bridge. "Engines at 15%, Commander," Harper reported. "Enough for emergency thrust, but not enough to break free of the Vizari ship completely." Alina nodded, catching her breath. "That's all we need. Reverse thrusters, full emergency power, pull us out of the breach just enough to clear their hull." As the Intrepid slowly extracted itself from the Vizari mothership, Alina opened a channel to the remaining Earth fleet. "All vessels, this is Commander Rice. The quantum warhead is set to detonate in approximately 2 minutes. The blast will likely create a temporary wormhole as the artificial singularity collapses. Clear lunar orbit immediately." Admiral Chen's voice came through, broken by static. "What about the Intrepid?" Alina glanced at her bridge crew, saw the determination in their eyes. "We'll be right behind you, Admiral." It was a lie, and they both knew it. The Intrepid lacked the power to escape the blast radius. As the final seconds counted down, Alina addressed her crew one last time. "I've served with many fine officers in my career, but never have I witnessed such courage, such unwavering dedication as I've seen today. Earth will remember what happened here. Humanity will survive because of your sacrifice." The quantum warhead detonated precisely as designed. The artificial singularity at the heart of the Vizari mothership destabilized catastrophically, collapsing in on itself before exploding outward with impossible force. Spacetime itself seemed to fold and tear around the alien vessel. Aboard the Intrepid, alarms blared as systems failed under the gravitational stress. "Hull integrity failing," Harper reported calmly. 30 seconds to complete structural collapse." Alina watched on the viewscreen as the Vizari mothership distorted, stretched, and then imploded with a silent flash that temporarily outshone the sun. "It's beautiful in its way," she murmured. And then, impossibly, the Intrepid lurched forward, accelerating away from the collapsing alien vessel. "What's happening?" Ella demanded. Harper looked up from his console in shock. "Power levels rising. We're being towed, Commander. Something has us in a gravitational lock." On the viewscreen, Alina saw the impossible. 3 vessels of unmistakably alien design, but not Vizari, had appeared from nowhere. One of them had enveloped the Intrepid in a shimmering field of energy, pulling it away from the blast zone. A transmission came through, the language unknown but somehow translating directly into comprehensible thoughts. "Humans of Earth, we are the collective. We have observed your conflict with the Vizari Dominion. Your sacrifice to defeat a technologically superior foe has been noted. Such courage deserves preservation." Alina stared at the screen in disbelief. "You've been watching. Why didn't you help sooner?" "Non-interference is our protocol with emerging species," came the reply. "But your actions today have proven humanity worthy of recognition. The Vizari have terrorized this sector of the galaxy for millennia. Many civilizations have fallen before them. None have succeeded in what you accomplished today." As the Intrepid was towed to safety, the full implications became clear. Humanity wasn't alone in the universe, and their defiance against the Vizari had just announced their presence on the galactic stage in dramatic fashion. 3 months after what became known as the Battle of Lunar Orbit, Earth had established formal diplomatic relations with 7 alien civilizations, all members of the collective. The technological exchange had already accelerated human development by decades, particularly in medicine and energy production. Commander Alina Rice, now Admiral Rice, stood in the newly constructed Galactic Embassy in Geneva, addressing representatives from Earth and various alien species. "The Vizari believed we would submit or perish like so many before us," she said, her voice carrying across the chamber. "They thought they had won when they destroyed Mars' colony. What they failed to understand was that humanity doesn't accept defeat. We adapt, we overcome, we survive." She gestured to the collective representatives. "Our new allies have confirmed that a small number of Vizari ships remain in distant sectors. They may return one day, seeking revenge for their mothership. When that day comes, they will not find the same humanity they left behind. They will find a species that has taken its place among the stars, that has learned and grown and prepared. The Lena's expression hardened slightly, remembering Mars, remembering her fallen comrades. And they will discover what it truly means to face humanity at war. The chamber erupted in applause, human and alien alike. Among the collective representatives, there was a growing appreciation for this young species that had accomplished what many thought impossible. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage not with humble first steps, but with an act of defiance and courage that would echo across the stars for generations to come. The message was clear to all. You found us adorable. Watch what happens next.